LWO1 WeatherNet. Liftoff conditions looking pretty good.
The STS is ready for launch.
Ignition. Liftoff.
Falcon 9 has cleared the tower.
Ten, 9, 8,
Side booster ignition.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Falcon 9 is configured for flight.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition and liftoff. Godspeed, Apollo 11 microfinal Collins. May the pursuit of exploration live on.
Vehicle's pitching downrange.
Stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
Falcon 9 has successfully lifted off from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, carrying our stack of Starlink satellites to orbit. The next event coming up here shortly is Max Q. Max Q is the maximum aerodynamic pressure that the vehicle sees on ascent. So throttling down those engines helps us pass through that large structural load.
Vehicle has reached maximum aerodynamic pressure.
And there's that call out that we passed through Max Q. In about a minute, we'll have 3 events happening within seconds of each other. The first will be MECO, or main engine cutoff, followed by stage separation and SES1, or second engine start 1. And first stage will begin its journey back home.
And MECO.
Heading towards our drone ship, just read the instructions.
Stage separation confirmed.
Continues on its journey with the third event, SES1, or second engine start 1.
MVAC ignition.
And that is where we light up that MVAC engine, and it propels the second stage along with the Starlink satellites towards its drop-off orbit. We had MECO and stage separation. On your left-hand screen is a view from the first stage, and there you could see confirmation on your screen that we have successfully deployed those fairing halves. As stage 2,
acquisition of signal, Bermuda.
As stage 2 takes our Starlink satellites to their targeted drop-off orbit, stage 1 will make its way back to Earth by executing 2 burns. The first is the entry burn, and that's where we light up 3 of the 9 M1D engines. And this will help to slow the stage down as it re-enters back into the upper parts of the Earth's atmosphere. The second of those 2 burns for that first stage is called the landing burn. And this is where a single engine, the center engine, will reignite and bring the vehicle speed down rapidly in order to touch down on that drone ship. As a reminder, we are attempting to land on Just Read the Instructions tonight. And those M1D engines do have a thrust of 190,000 pounds, so that's stir. And then we heard a good call out for SECO. That's second engine cutoff.
Vehicle's following a nominal trajectory.
Now, if you're just catching up with us, we had a successful launch of Falcon 9 from Cape Canaveral Space Launch Complex 40, and you're looking at a live view. Stage 1 is currently cruising back to Earth towards our drone ship, Just Read the Instructions, out in the Atlantic Ocean. We're just about a minute away from the next event on that first stage. That'll be the entry burn. Again, Starlink satellites are going to a LEO orbit, or low Earth orbit, about 550 kilometers above the Earth's surface. Now, most satellites are at 36,000 kilometers, or in a geo or geostationary orbit. We are just about roughly 30 seconds away from that entry burn beginning. And on your left-hand screen, there is the first stage. It is a little dark. You can see some glimpses of the nitrogen gas burst that you see there.
Stage 1, FTS is safe.
Stage 1 entry burn.
And you can see on your left-hand screen, the entry burn has begun as those 3 engines light up that view for us.
Stage 1 entry burn shut down.
Stage 2 continues to follow a nominal trajectory.
That concludes the entry burn, and then we also got to call out that stage 2 is still nominal. The next event coming up will be the landing burn, the start of the landing burn on the first stage.
Stage 1 landing burn.
The landing burn has begun. Let's watch and see if this Falcon 9 can land on our drone ship. Just read the instructions. And a really cool onboard view.
Stage 1 landing leg deploy.
And there you can see the first stage Falcon 9 has landed for 7th time. This marks our 81st successful recovery of an orbital class rocket. Now stage 2 is going to coast in this orbit. We'll see you back here at T plus 45 minutes for a second stage relay. Welcome back to the webcast, and now we're coming up on the relight of the second stage engine once again for SES-2. This will be a very short burn. It's just 1 second long. And there was SES-2 and SECO-2. As I mentioned, it was very quick, just 1 second. Now we have another 15-minute coast phase before we deploy our next batch of Starlink satellites into orbit. We'll see you back here at T plus 1 hour and 3 minutes. Welcome back to the webcast. And now we're coming up on the deployment of our Starlink satellites. That should be coming up here in about 30 seconds or so. You can also see how the second stage is spinning. This does help with the satellites to separate once they do
Starlink
deploy.
deploy confirmed.
And there you can see and hear that call out that the Starlink satellites have deployed as they are drifting away from the second stage. You may notice a slightly different look of these sats on this mission, as some have been painted white for thermal reasons. This will not impact the satellite brightness since the painted face is facing away from the Earth. And just a reminder that this is their drop-off orbit, so shortly they will deploy their solar array, and over the next few days and weeks, they will distance themselves from each other and use their onboard ion thrusters to make their way to their operational orbit. And that brings our webcast to a close. Thank you to the Range and the FAA for supporting today's mission. If you're interested in Starlink service, head over to starlink.com and sign up. Thanks for joining us, and have a wonderful night.